Coming up next on the Lowe Zone, Kelly Olynyk is having himself a career start for the Utah Jazz. They're off to a 5-2 start. The Brooklyn Nets, well, they're 1-5 and they got problems of their own. We will get to that coming up next. And LeBron James is growing frustrated with the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are the only team in the league to remain winless at 0-5. All that and more coming up next here on the Lowe Zone. Good morning, everybody. I'm Justin Lowe. Welcome into episode 4 of the Lowe Zone. Seamus, Zarlingo, a little bit of technical difficulties. He'll be joining us in just a little bit. We have a lot to cover today. As you saw, the Brooklyn Nets, they're struggling. The Los Angeles Lakers, they're struggling. The Milwaukee Bucks, they're 5-0 in the Eastern Conference. We'll get to them a little later on. The Utah Jazz, out of nowhere, and I mean out of nowhere, we talk about the Utah Jazz. And I remember the first episode of the Lowe Zone was when the Rudy Gobert trade went down. And I didn't honestly know what to think of it from Minnesota's standpoint. I get what they're trying to do with the Twin Towers and all that. Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, two of the more better centers in the league. But I thought Utah won the trade by a landslide. And I mean a landslide. And it's showing so far. I mean, it really is. I get we're only 7 games in. I get we're only a week in. But 5-2 for the Utah Jazz, who have beaten some pretty good teams, including the Memphis Grizzlies last night at home. They're 3-0 at home. They're 5-2. It's their total record, but all 7 games are against the Western Conference. We know how tough that Western Conference can be. So I'm very, very impressed with the Utah Jazz. They got Coach Will Hardy over there, rookie coach, one of the youngest coaches in the entire NBA, and he is killing it. And I mean, killing it in Utah. I can't tell you that I'm surprised because, to be quite honest with you, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think, and I'm not just saying, I didn't think they would be horrible 15th seed. I thought they might be a play-in team, maybe miss the play-in. I didn't think they'd be 5-2, third in the West, 2.5 weeks into the regular season. But just the utmost credit to them. And I just wanted to, I feel like nobody talks about the Utah Jazz, even without Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I know it's early, but nobody talks about the Utah Jazz. They're so focused on, I feel like, the Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, because those are teams who really are sucking it up right now, and they're supposed to have the 5-2 record. But Utah isn't getting enough credit. They're such a great young team. The pieces that they have on that team are just unbelievable from a, I guess, young standpoint. You know, Colin Sexton coming off the bench is Colin Sexton. And that's a really, really good point guard. He's an injury-riddled point guard, and that's one of the big reasons why Cleveland got rid of him. That and the progression, obviously, of Darius Garland. But huge offseason for the Utah Jazz. They dumped They dumped Gobert. They dumped Donovan Mitchell. They kept Mike Conley. They kept Jordan Clarkson, Rudy Gay. They kept some of these veterans around, and I think that was perfect. I think that's what they needed. It clearly was not working with the Utah Jazz, and I was not a Jazz fan whatsoever. I really wasn't. I didn't like how Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, they did not play well together. They never got anywhere, and that has a lot to do with it. I'm just, I guess, glad to see Danny Ainge clear house and start fresh. And one of the points that Will Hardy and Danny Ainge tried to make before the season started was, you know, we're not going into this season with the mentality of tanking. We are going in and trying to win 82 games. We're trying to win every single possible game we can win. And that's the mindset these guys have gone into the first 7 games in. And that's why they've won 5 of their last 7. They're 3-0 at home. They've always been a pretty decent home team, but it's just so relieving to see this Utah Jazz team. And I want to mention the Oklahoma City Thunder as well, because they are such a fun team to watch. I've got an NBA League Pass, and I've made sure to watch these NBA games, especially young teams like the Jazz, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Orlando Magic. These teams have some serious talent on the team, that quite literally is the future of the NBA. Some team stats for the Utah Jazz. They're in the top half of the league in almost every stat, except for opponents' points per game. They're 18th at 114.9 opponents' points per game. But other than that, they're all in the top half of the league, 13th in points per game, 13th in rebounds per game, top 4 in assists per game. They're fourth, 28.6. They have always been a good ball moving team. That's how they get a lot of their shots, and that's how they get a lot of their points, is moving the basketball around the perimeter as well, getting great looks, getting good shots to fall. And I'm when I watch this Utah team, they are really buying into this Utah Jazz system and how things work, and how they really want to turn this franchise around. This franchise has been a relatively unsuccessful franchise with their two franchise players, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. They cleared house. Hey, this isn't working with one. This is definitely not working with two. Let's move on. Let's try to focus on the future and build something from the start. I think going out and getting Lauri Markkanen and Colin Sexton in that Donovan Mitchell trade, that was a pretty good trade. I feel like that was a great trade for both teams. I really do. When I saw that trade, I was like, oh, that's a win-win. That really is, because Utah, these two players are just coming up so big for the Utah Jazz. I saw Colin Sexton just got to the rim with such ease, and he's coming off the bench. I mean, they still have Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson in there. Those are two great vets to learn from, to take tips and advice off of. So when I look at this Utah team, I look and I'm seeing Lauri Markkanen. I'm seeing Colin Sexton. I'm seeing some Beasley in there. I'm seeing Mike Conley. But I'm forgetting a name. And this was a trade towards the regular season, a little later after the Gobert trade. Bogdanovich was traded to the Detroit Pistons, and the Utah Jazz got back a center. And they're, oh my gosh, why are the Jazz getting all these centers? They had Markkanen, they had Cody Zeller. What is going on here? They got Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk in his 10th NBA year. And as a Celtics fan, as you can clearly tell, I remember Kelly. I have his poster up in my room right there. That Kelly Olynyk. I remember when Kelly Olynyk first came into the league, came out of Gonzaga, and this guy could shoot. This guy could shoot 7'1", 7 foot, 7'1", and he could shoot the ball. He could do a little bit of everything. Obviously, remember Game 7, Kelly against the in 2017 against the Washington Wizards, had that huge 26 points performance. But I look at this team and I see Kelly Olynyk stands out. He's had his last 3 games, 20 points or more. That's career. That is the best Kelly Olynyk. This is single-handedly the best stretch for Kelly Olynyk that he's ever played in his career. And this is his 10th year. He's a vet. I can't believe I'm saying this because time flies. He's a vet. 13.7 points per game, 4.1 rebounds a game, 3.7, almost 4 assists per game, a steal and a half per game, and nearly a block per game. So he's doing it on both ends of the floor. And Kelly Olynyk's not really known for this defensive presence, but I would love his physicality. He's averaging about 4 fouls per game, which down low, Kelly Olynyk, you'd figure he could play both inside and out, but he's more known for his offensive firepower. So to see those defensive stats up there for him, a steal and a half and nearly a block per game, along with 4 fouls, just tells me he's just being such an aggressive basketball player on both ends of the floor. He's shooting 56% from the field and 64% from the from the 3-point line. Those numbers, I get only 7 games played and possibly limited shots. He's not taking 20, 30 shots a game like a LeBron or like a Doncic or a Tatum, but he's getting his shots up and he's knocking them down. two huge wins for them was against the New Orleans Pelicans. That was a huge overtime victory for the Utah Jazz. And obviously last night against the Memphis Grizzlies. I was fortunate enough to watch both of those games and got to see how those two games handled down the stretch. And the ball was in Kelly Olynyk's hands down the stretch for both those games. Obviously, Jordan Clarkson had the ball, did his thing, but Kelly Olynyk, they really trust and really buy into Kelly Olynyk. Um, it makes me smile talking about Kelly Olynyk just because the Celtics had him and I've watched him for years, and just to see him grow and evolve into this player in into the system, it's really fun because he can really thrive on this team. He thrived when he played for the Houston Rockets. He actually played some of his best career basketball before being traded to the Detroit Pistons, or signing to the Detroit Pistons rather. But Kelly Olynyk in the Pelicans game got the game-winning layup with about 3 seconds left. And last night, with under a minute to go, Kelly Olynyk hit this huge three that put the Utah Jazz ahead by 1. And the Utah Jazz ended up hanging on and beating the Memphis Grizzlies. So seeing Olynyk down the stretch, hitting some big-time shots, helping this Utah Jazz team win basketball games is really fun to see. And Kelly's happy. The guys around him are so happy. These guys, I mentioned it earlier, these guys are fully bought in to what Will Hardy and the Utah Jazz coaching staff had put together. The game plan can't execute any more perfectly for them. And a 5-2 start, 5 wins of their first 7 games, third in the Eastern Conference, 3-0 at home. That is an unbelievable start for this Utah Jazz team. And they really are. They're only going up from here. Can they maintain this all season? Probably not, because Golden State is 3-3 right now. We got the Los Angeles Clippers, they're 3-3. I mean, there's these teams that, first couple, 2.5 weeks of the season, there's teams here that aren't going to be here at the end on either side of the conference, whether it's the first seed or the 15th seed. Things change weekly, things change daily in the NBA nowadays. And don't think this Utah team is the top 3 team in the Western Conference, but we've seen stranger things. We've certainly seen stranger things in the world. Good morning, everybody. Get your coffee. Get your coffee. Have a good time. Look, I'm already like halfway down. I got this a little while ago, but I'm more than halfway done with my coffee. It's pretty good. Get your coffee. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the Lowe Zone. We're going to hear from Wyatt, and he's going to tell you about what other content we have here at Good Time.
Guys, what's up? If you don't know me, my name's Wyatt. This whole thing, Good Time, that's me. I hope you guys are enjoying the Lowe Zone as much as I am. I'm just here to tell you about what else we got going on here at Good Time. Every day, noon Eastern time, we're live. I'm live right here on the Bum. Tune in. We talk about literally everything. It's basically a show predicated on what you want to talk about. You see these lovely people over here or over here. I honestly don't know which side it's on. One of these sides, there's a list of our A-listers. Those are the top 10 people who hang out with us every day, ask questions, donate, tip, whatever. They hang out with us, and I love them to death. And you, too, can be on the A-list if you want. Hang out with me every day at noon. Also, every Monday, we have Battle Flicks, hosted by the lovely Eli Hedrick. Good dude. Good-looking dude. Great stash. We got a lot of stuff going. And guess what? One thing's for certain. It'll always be a good time. Back to the show.
Thank you, Wyatt. Thank you very much. That was you killing it, absolutely killing it. I love the bum pause. Why? First of all, I never asked Wyatt why where that show is, come from, where the name of the show has come from, but we'll get to that later. But in all seriousness, go watch them weekly. Great show, fun show. What I like about Good Time, and I'm going to go here on a little tangent, whatever, about Good Time. I've joined them right around the NBA Finals. I went on their show and talked about the Celtics. We're not going to talk about what happened after I talked about the Celtics, but and I followed them I want to say a year. little less than a year, and I've always loved their content. I've always loved, um, I guess, just seeing people my age create content and have a good time and spread positivity and just have fun with each other. And I wanted to be a part of that. And so when Wyatt, it was kind of funny because I wanted to text Wyatt to collab on something, and out of nowhere he texted me and asked if I wanted to come on the show. And then Wyatt is a good dude, and um, now I'm now I'm a writer for them. I blog, and now I have a show here. So it's been a really good time here, and no pun intended. And the Lowe Zone is in its 4th episode, and I, can't thank Seamus, my co-host, enough. I don't know where he is right now. I think he was having some technical difficulties, but other than that, the show must go on. We still have a lot to talk about here. Utah Jazz, obviously, they're surging, but the Brooklyn Nets, well, they're falling. We'll get to that in the second portion of the episode, but I want to talk about the Western Conference and the Los Angeles Lakers. They are stinking it up. We're not going to talk about this for long. We'll talk maybe 5 minutes because we touched on the Lakers last week. Not much has changed whatsoever, except for LeBron James. LeBron took to Instagram the other night after a loss and said, quote, "How long will you be taken for granted? Keep going, kid." That is alarming. That is kind of like, what is this? And how I dissected it, and I mean, quite honestly, I feel like he thinks, obviously by the quote, he's being taken for granted. And is he wrong? I mean, do you see the team that's built around LeBron James? And you can't just sit here and say, oh, LeBron James has no right to, decide what players and what. No, but when you are the key piece, when you are the main guy, they do build the team around that. They do ask you, who do you want? Who can we try to get to play better? And I don't think the Lakers are comprehending or cooperating with LeBron James whatsoever, and that's a big issue. And LeBron notices that, and LeBron's very, very frustrated. Last night after a loss, or 2 nights ago after a loss, he just hung his head, and the frustration just goes beyond. And it's getting pretty bad when you see LeBron James. He just signed an extension with the Lakers, and just the more the Lakers play, the more frustrated he gets. We've seen times where LeBron James just walks off the court before the game even ends, and that's nothing you want to see out of your star player. And again, you look behind me and you see a bunch of Celtics merchandise and memorabilia, but at the end of the day, I'm also an NBA fan, and I have to be real. Like, the Lakers they have serious issues. And I want to say this, like, Russell Westbrook, I'm going to bring this up. Russell Westbrook is not playing good basketball at all the past year. I understand that. I totally understand that. But at the same time, like, neither are the 14 other Los Angeles Lakers on the basketball court. I mean, LeBron James kind of had an MVP season last year, but to say all the problems, most of are Russell Westbrook? Are you even watching? Are you watching and not paying attention? You're not dissecting it. You're not fully paying attention. You're not fully aware, because the problems go beyond Russell Westbrook. Lakers still lose when Russell Westbrook does not play. Lakers still lose when Russell Westbrook comes off the bench. Russ looked really good off the bench the other night. But the problems are so beyond Russell Westbrook, and to see him just get all the bash, it's kind of sickening. And as somebody who, again, is a big NBA fan, I don't think I would boo Russell. The treatment that Russell Westbrook gets by the Lakers fans is quite honestly disgusting. And look, I know Russ is not playing like Russell Westbrook from 3, even 2 years ago, but he is still on your team. he is still wearing purple and gold. If he hits a game winner for the Los Angeles Lakers, don't stand there jumping excitement, because you were probably that same person who was booing him the possession before if he turned it over, if he missed a free throw, if he let up a score. So don't be two-faced when it comes to supporting your team. And this just isn't for Russell. This is for any player. Just Westbrook is just kind of the key guy right now, because he's getting that treatment, especially in LA. The Lakers are doing so bad, but Russ is getting all the blame, and it frustrates me. It frustrates me because, yeah, Russ is not playing good. He is not at all. I mean, dude is missing layups. But at the end of the day, I couldn't sit there. Tatum's gone through horrible stretches as a Boston Celtic. It makes you cringe sometimes, the stretches that these players go through. But you damn well know I'm still going to be cheering for him. I'm still going to tell him to shoot the ball or pass the ball or get the rebound or get a stop. Like, for sure. Like, he's on my team, man. Like, I want to be supporting him 24/7. And the Lakers, they don't have any support with Russell Westbrook. And I think that's a problem within itself. It's a toxic situation. But again, the problems, oh my gosh, the problems goes way beyond Russell Westbrook. Their shooting is still horrible, which Seamus made a good point. Like, it's not only their shooting, like they're not, but they're not buying in. We talked about buying in. The Utah Jazz are buying in. The Los Angeles Lakers are not buying in at all. And Seamus tweeted this morning, the Utah Jazz are significantly better than the Los Angeles Lakers. It's not even close. And it's true. Lakers are not buying in. They're not buying in not only to the game plan, but they're not buying into each other. They're really not connected. I don't know if they're connected off the court, but they're certainly not connected on the court. And the thing is, you can so be connected off the court. You can have the best of friends, best of relationships, and not be connected on the court. Like, that happens. That happens all the time. That happened with the Boston Celtics a couple of years ago, back in the year after the bubble. They went like 500, and they were best of friends out there, but they could never figure it out on the court. And that's exactly what the Los Angeles Lakers are right now. So they got a lot of stuff to figure out, because they remain the only team winless in the NBA. The Sacramento Kings beat the Miami Heat the other night. The Orlando Magic decapitated the Charlotte Hornets the other night. So, we look at these teams, and, the Kings and the Magic, they got bright futures. I mean, the Los Angeles Lakers, they're kind of have no choice to be in win now mode, but your star player, I want to say obviously your franchise player in LeBron James is 37 years old. And if you don't want to call LeBron James your franchise player, the next one down is Anthony Davis. And that guy can't stay healthy. That guy can't stay healthy for anything. So again, I might sound like I'm just bashing the Lakers because I got the Celtics, I'm a Celtics fan, but it's not. It's just common sense. It's what the human eye picks up, and it is what it is. I do hope the best for Russell Westbrook, and obviously, again, he's having troubles. I don't think Patrick Beverley is playing all that good at all. I mean, he had a lot of talk to back up, and he's not backing up any of it on either end of the floor. And obviously, Dennis Schroeder is hurt. I mean, this team is all messed up from 1 to 15, except for Matt Ryan. I love Matt Ryan. Dude has an incredible story, but he doesn't get playing time, which, the Lakers complain so much about shooting struggles, yet they don't play Matt Ryan, who is a shooter. So let's head out east. I want to take a quick moment to mention the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mentioned it earlier. I want to give credit where credit's due. Mark Dagnall is turning this franchise around, and Sam Presti, both Massachusetts natives. These guys are doing a rebuild correctly. These guys are doing the rebuild so correctly. They took draft picks and they stacked them up. They stacked up the draft picks. They're trusting their system. They know those draft picks are going to be valuable. So if they really wanted to go out and get a star player, they very much easily could. But they want to build these players. They're being very, very patient with these players. Something that the Brooklyn Nets failed to do. Something that the Los Angeles Lakers failed to do with Russell, with Randall. Kuzma, Lonzo, and they're building up guy Dort, Pokuševski. Obviously, Chet has yet to play, but he's obviously we know what we could get out of Chet. I want to mention who am I forgetting? Gilgeous Alexander, obviously. Isaiah Joe came up huge last night against the Dallas Mavericks. These guys are just a fun group to watch. They are another team that's buying into their system, and they're having a lot of fun together. And they're a young team, and I don't know. I just really they got a few big wins back to back. Dallas and Los Angeles, the Clippers. Their confidence must be kind of skyrocketing right now because they're 3-3. They had a great preseason. They had a great summer league. And you could say, oh, it's just summer league, it's just preseason. Yeah, but you don't understand for these young teams like the Thunder, those guys who are playing in the summer league and who are playing in the preseason, Josh Giddey, those guys are actually playing in the regular season because they're a rebuilding team. Everybody is young. Everybody lacks experience. So they all need to get reps together. They all need to get playing time, and they got to figure out their game plans and stuff like these. It's not like the guys like Brooklyn and Boston and Philly, guys like Embiid and Harden, Tatum and Brown and Durant and Irving. Like these guys have played. These guys are superstars. These guys have experience, and they know what they're going to get out of those players. The Thunder, not so much. They have a lot of guys where even guys like Shea and Giddey and Dort, they've been in the league for a few years, and they still have a lot to prove. They still have a lot to improve on. So just credit to Utah, credit to the Oklahoma City Thunder, both off to great starts in their respective seasons, and it's only up from here for both those two franchises. They're doing it right. A team that's not doing it right is or a team that's trying to do it right, but it's just going horribly wrong is the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, and they're 1-5. They are the 15th seed in the Eastern Conference. 4-game losing streak, 1-3 at home, 0-2 on the road. These stats I'm about to read are just horrific. First of all, I feel like the Brooklyn Nets home games aren't even home games. Like, I feel like the arena's always quiet. The arena is never full. I remember a couple years ago when the Celtics played them in the playoffs. Actually, Celtics lost in 5 this year. This was 2021. The Nets were selling tickets for like $50. They were trying to playoff tickets. They were trying to pack the stands, and they still couldn't do it. So to be 1-3 at home, that doesn't say much. They don't have home. That is like one of the worst home court advantages in the NBA is playing in Brooklyn. Ain't nobody's scared. We're going to Brooklyn. We're going to Brooklyn. Like, I'm shriveling right now. It's not like going to Boston or going to Philly or going to Golden State or it's Brooklyn. Nobody. Madison Square Garden is right across the bridge. So why would I worry about Brooklyn? But these team stats are just, oh my gosh, it gives me a headache to look at these because they're so atrocious. And for a team on paper makes my head hurt. They're in the bottom half of the league in all but one category. And that one category is assists per game, where they're 14th in the NBA, 24.5 assists per game, which 14th cut the league in half. Half is 15. They just made it to the upper half, like literally by like a smidge. They're 18th, bottom half of the league in points per game. Oh, 28th in rebounds per game. They're the third worst team in the entire NBA rebounding. That opponent's points per game, 29. Oh, that makes me cringe. 29. There's only one team worse than them on the defensive end. 122.9, 123 points per game. by their opponents giving up. They are the second worst league in opponents' points per game. And I don't feel bad for Brooklyn. I don't like Brooklyn. I don't. And that had nothing to do with that. Really had nothing to do with Kyrie Irving. But just Brooklyn's trying to build these super teams. And again, just like the Lakers, like it's like teams you see on 2K where you pull guys out of your ass, basically. They got Patty Mills on the bench. They're missing Seth Curry. Joe Harris hasn't looked to par. I mean, at all. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons. Everybody's so focused on Russell Westbrook, but they ain't talking about Ben Simmons, who I think is playing way worse than Russell Westbrook. 6 points per game, 6.5 rebounds a game, 7.5 assists per game. Rebounds and assists per game, not bad. Points per game. I mean, this guy doesn't shoot the ball. He hasn't attempted a three. He said he's going to have to shoot more. He hasn't shot at all. He stood in the paint, which, whatever. 46% from the free throw line, 44% from the field goal. That's not bad, but I mean, granted, he takes shots that are 2 feet away from the rim. And I'm not even trying to hate. Like, I'm really, really not. It's just what I see. It's just what the stats say. It's just what his game says. Just watching him. He's getting 7 assists per game, but he's also turning the ball over almost nearly three turnovers a game, 2.7 to be exact. And 4.5 fouls per game. He's played 6 games. He's fouled out twice. I mean, Ben Simmons is a real eyebrow raiser. And once Ben Simmons figures it out, I think they'll be fine. But it feels like he's a long way away from figuring it out. And that's just really shameful to see. It sucks in the sense. And I don't want to see this guy fall at all. I mean, he's on the Nets, so I definitely don't want to see them do good as a Celtics fan in a division rival. But similar to Russell Westbrook, I feel like people with Ben Simmons is, they're jumping on him pretty quick, and I guess I'm one to jump on him. I mean, through 6 games, he hasn't played great whatsoever, and his shot selection is horrible when he does shoot. I feel like he's very sloppy with the ball, very loose. I just 3 turnovers a game on 7.5 assists. That doesn't sit right with me. I don't know. I feel like that's not a great ratio. This Brooklyn team has a lot to figure out. I get they're only 6 games in. I totally understand that they're only 6 games in, but when you lose to the Indiana Pacers the way they did last night at home, it's despicable. It's unfathomable. And I just don't want to talk about the Brooklyn Nets anymore. I feel like what more is there to say about this team? They suck, and I don't know where they're going from here. I really did. I had them as a top 5, and they still can be. They still can be for sure. I mean, I'm acting like this. I'm making it sound like there's a week left in the regular season. There's not, but it's time to get out of here, and it's time to get out of the land of the Brooklyn Nets. I think Steve Nash should just quit coaching. I don't think he's a good coach at all. I mean, I could never do what they do, but Steve Nash is not a good coach, and he's not going to help them win a championship. I don't think he's the guy. When he was hired, Kyrie had words for him. Kyrie is going through his own stuff right now that I don't even want to talk about. You can look it up if you want, but I don't even want to talk about it on this stream at all. We only have about 15 minutes left of the show, and why waste it on talking about something just despicable? This is supposed to be a good time. And so if you want to look up the Kyrie news, look it up. But it seems to be a big distraction with the Brooklyn Nets team. And that's not something you want to see out of one of your leaders. It's also funny that Durant and Irving both wanted out in the offseason. And then they said, okay, we can try to ride it out. Let's see what happens. And then they get off to this bad of a start. Again, not buying in. Let's hear from Wyatt again, and when we get back, we will talk some more hoops. We'll talk stay in the Eastern Conference, but let's hear from Wyatt.
Guys, what's up? If you don't know me, my name's Wyatt. This whole thing, good time? That's me. I hope you guys are enjoying the Lowe Zone as much as I am. I'm just here to tell you about what else we got going on here at Good Time. Every day, noon Eastern time, we're live. I'm live right here on the Bum. Tune in. We talk about literally everything. It's basically a show predicated on what you want to talk about. You see these lovely people over here or over here. I honestly don't know which side it's on. One of these sides, there's a list of our A-listers. Those are the top 10 people who hang out with us every day, ask questions, donate, tip, whatever. They hang out with us, and I love them to death. And you, too, can be on the A-list if you want. Hang out with me every day at noon. Also, every Monday, we have Battle Flicks, hosted by the lovely Eli Hedrick. Good dude. Good-looking dude. Great stash. We got a lot of stuff going. And guess what? One thing's for certain. It'll always be a good time. Back to the show.
Thank you, Wyatt, and welcome back to the Lowe Zone, episode 4. Good to have you guys here on this Sunday morning, getting your Sunday morning started off correctly. I'm going to the Celtics tonight. Celtics host the Wizards tonight at the TD Garden, 6 o'clock tip-off. I'm excited. The Wizards are wearing their throwback uniforms. They look like, remember when Michael Jordan played for the Washington Wizards? They had those white uniforms. They were blue. Those are so cool. So I'm excited to see those. A little bit of a throwback game. But Celtics look to get back on track. They've lost 2 straight games. We'll talk about. I do want to talk a little Celtics talk a little later in the episode. But for now, we've touched on the Nets. We've touched on the Lakers. Love what the Jazz are doing. I absolutely love what the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing. But there's another young team that I haven't mentioned. What's that other team? Can anyone guess what that other team is? It's the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers beat the Brooklyn Nets last night. It was a big win. I picked the Brooklyn Nets to win. I was very wrong. My boy Aaron Nesmith. You guys know, if you know me, you know Aaron Nesmith was my favorite Celtic player. He's one of my favorite NBA players. Just kid plays with heart. Just so happy he got traded. If he was gonna leave or get traded, so glad it was to a rebuilding team where he's going to get to thrive, get a lot of minutes. And he's doing just that in Indiana. But there's a player that he's 20 years old. I think he was the 6th pick in the NBA draft this year. I think he was. And he's Canadian. I can't think of his name. He's 6'5", 210. It's almost like a name you'll hear in the history book. Is Benedict Mathurin? I don't know how to spell his last. I don't know how to say his last name. But Benedict has played amazing for the Indiana Pacers. Amazing for the Indiana Pacers to start off. 21 points. He's averaging 21 points in 27 minutes per game. That's almost, not exactly, almost a point a minute. 45% shooting field goals on nearly 5 rebounds a game and 2.3 assists per game. And the reason why I'm bringing him up is because last night, off the bench, in 33 minutes, off the bench, he scored 32 points against Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets. Absolutely torched Brooklyn on their home court. And this Indiana Pacers team is another team that's going to be so fun to watch. And I don't know how long guys like Buddy Hield and Miles Turner will be there, because those guys have been, in trade rumors for quite a while. But what they have right now is something brewing. Something's brewing in Indiana. And they're another team that's doing it right. And they lost Paul George. They lost Oladipo. Things kind of turned around for this franchise. Last year, Sabonis got traded at the deadline for Tyrese Halliburton. Kind of a trade between 2 rebuilding franchises that kind of broke the internet. We looked at it and went, whoa, the Kings traded Tyrese Halliburton. That's a common Sacramento Kings loss. They are never making it back to the playoffs. Ever. don't deserve to after that move. And I like Sabonis. I really do. But Tyrese Hall, I can't believe how impatient the Sacramento Kings were with Tyrese Halliburton. He is a double-double machine, very capable of getting triple-doubles. He's an unbelievable playmaker, an unbelievable shooter. His form needs work. Shooting form needs work. It's definitely improved from last season, though. But, again, this Indiana team is full of fun, enjoyable players. I mentioned Aaron Nesmith. Dude plays with heart. Dude plays with energy. You don't get a lot of guys like that nowadays. He's young. This is, I think, third year in the league. It is his third year in the league. I have about 6 or 7 Aaron Nesmith jerseys, including a G League jersey of his, because that's how big of a fan I am. I'm buying into him. I'm buying into his game. And I know Wyatt is a huge Pacers fan. I don't know about huge, but he's a Pacers fan. So he must be happy. He must be excited. And he has every right to be. Because this team, I don't think they're playing team yet. But they're very, very capable. And they have a very, very bright future. And that future could be very, very soon. It could be next year they get into the play-in. It could be. We don't know how things go. I think they got to stay healthy, though. They've been an injury-riddled team in the past years. Obviously, Karis LeVert, Victor Oladipo, Miles Turner's been hurt many times. Then you had T.J. Warren, who's no longer there. He's in Brooklyn. He's still hurt. I'm forgetting. Did I say Oladipo? Paul George? They have a history of getting hurt, and that kind of takes them back a few steps whenever that happens. So hopefully nothing like that happens again. I talked about this earlier in just these young teams in the NBA. I think this is one of the most exciting starts to the NBA season I have seen in a while, because we're seeing teams that we didn't expect to win a lot of games this year, and they're winning a lot early on. And I know early on is stressed, but to see teams like Utah, like Oklahoma, like Indiana win game. I want to pull up the standings because, again, 2 weeks in, but there's some fun team. Cleveland is 4-1. Indiana's 3-4, but I mean, they're playing good basketball. I had no complaints about the Pacers. I watched a few of their games. Those guys are hard. Those guys are tough. The New Orleans Pelicans 3-2. Those guys got some injuries going on, but seeing those teams get off to such great starts is so relieving. It's unexpected. Orlando Magic, they're 1-5, but in all 6 games they've been in, it's not like they've just gotten toppled over. They haven't competed at all. But I haven't seen anything like this. I don't think I have, at least in a long time. Just watching these teams play is just a treat to watch. Because again, it's the future of the NBA. These guys have a serious chance to start their careers and get off on the right foot. I think Paolo Banchero, oh my gosh, this is my 3rd straight episode talking about Paolo Banchero. He's on a totally other level. And when I mean other level, historically, he's on another level. Already comparing him to Oscar Robertson in stats, are already comparing to Allen Iverson, LeBron James. These guys, the names that this kid has put himself up there with in these categories it's unbelievable. And I don't think people realize how big that is to these players, to these young players, where these guys are humbled, yet they still obviously they want to go out and get these achievements. Like you hear these players like, oh, you won Rookie of the Month or you won Player of the Week. It's like, I'm about the team, No. No. In the back of your head, when those microphones and those cameras are not on you, and when you might be alone at home, you're so hyped for yourself. You're so excited. And the rush is just it's going through their veins. They know it. They know there's no denying that. Like there's no way you can sit here and tell me that Paolo Banchero wins Rookie of the Year. Oh, it's a team, it's a team award. I definitely, I think I earned it, but I got to give credit to my team. It's like bullshit. Like, no, like, no way. Like, you are definitely fully excited for yourself. And those are those types of players. Tyrese Halliburton, I was talking about the Pacers. He's another one of those players where this kid can so effortlessly get a double-double. And I think even going into his future of his career, I could see him being like a Russell Westbrook in terms of getting these triple doubles on a nightly basis. I mean, he's a bigger guard. He can get rebounds. He can get physical. He can get in the lane and score. He can shoot the ball from the outside. He can pass the ball. He can play off the ball, on the ball. I mean, this Halliburton kid can do just about anything as well. And that's what these young guys have so much, they have so much going for them. We talk about how the game is evolving, and we see guys like Paolo Banchero come in, and this guy is 6'10", 250, and he can shoot the ball as well. He can play inside and out. And that's something you have to come into the NBA with nowadays, is you have to be able to shoot the ball. And, you get these centers and these forwards who don't shoot the ball, but they're also having great careers. A couple names that pop into my head are obviously Robert Williams is having a great career. We didn't see Al Horford, just talking about stuff. We haven't seen Al Horford shoot the basketball since he got to Boston. I mean, the last year he was in Atlanta, he started to shoot the ball. But, I mean, we don't see a lot of guys nowadays who don't shoot the basketball. You see guys like Blake Griffin stepping behind the three-point line. I saw DeAndre Jordan hit a three-pointer the other night. DeAndre Jordan, that was a second career three, and he hit it. And it's just the game has evolved to that. And we've gotten to that point where you see guys like Victor Wembanyama coming in. He's 7'3", and he could shoot the three ball, and he could play inside and out. And it's just more of a complete game. It's just how the pace is nowadays. Everybody's so quick. Everybody's playing so fast. You see these centers get down the court before guards do, almost like Bill Russell. Bill Russell used to do that all the time. And so many people are like, oh, I miss the days when centers, played down low and played dirty. Like, we all want players to play like that, but at the same time, that's life. That's how the game has evolved. That's basketball. That's how the game has come to today. Back in the early 2000s, what did we see? We saw a lot, and we saw a lot of mid range. We saw a lot of driving. We saw a lot of layups and dunks and looks inside. Now it's starting to go back. I feel like every year we kind of have like this side is like the playing inside, and then this side is a 3-point. Every year we've gotten to like right here. Here's the mid range. Now we're backing up a couple feet. Now we're at the 3-point line. Now we're at like friggin' like Harlem Globetrotters 4-point play type stuff. Like, they're talking about adding in a 4-point. Like, that's just how the game is evolving. We're seeing how fast teams play, and that's what these young teams and these young players coming into the league have the advantage of. What? Weird. Oh God, we got some bots in here. I don't know what the hell that stuff's about. Oh Lord, don't pay attention to that. But yeah, so that's just how the game has evolved, and that's how it's going to continue to evolve. We're going to start seeing some incredible teams being built. The league. I want next week we'll bring this up because this is Seamus's topic. The league did something with give me a second here. I want to look at it because I want to explain this correctly. I'm not going to go full into depth because I'll save it for next week because this is Seamus's topic. It was NBA. It was the NBA, something to do with NBA contracts. I think they're upping the salary. They're upping the salary, which is going to be pretty big for the league. I'm not good with salary stuff. That's a lot of math. That's a lot of research that I have been incapable of doing. I've tried it and I can't stay focused to do it whatsoever. I can't grasp an understanding of it, but Seamus is so good with that stuff. And that's a huge reason why I wanted Seamus on this show with me. So when we got to the trade deadline, when we got to free agency, when we got to this type of news, contract extension, he could explain it and he could go into depth about it because he could talk hours on hours about the salary cap and all of that contract and the financial mathematics behind it all. But that's the move that the league made. You can look it up. that's going to kind of change the league, and that's another way of how this game has evolved and how it's going to continue to evolve. But for now, look, this has been a fun episode. I had to do this solo today. Seamus, if you're just joining, Seamus had some technical difficulties. It was totally okay. A little old school episode of the Lowe Zone. But next week we have a great show. Hopefully we'll have a great show planned. A good week of NBA. Tomorrow's Halloween, so happy Halloween to all who celebrate it. Go out, do some trick-or-treating, stay safe at the Halloween parties. Whatever you do on Halloween, just do it safely, and make sure you get home that night safely as well. But for now, the NBA world is upside down. That's teams like the Philadelphia 76ers. They're on the bottom. Teams like the Pelicans, teams like Jazz, they're up top right now. Teams like Cleveland just erupted the other night on Boston, combining 82 points from LeVert and Donovan Mitchell. So it's been a fun couple of weeks in the NBA around the association. So join us next week right back here on the Lowe Zone at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. We'll go to about 11 a.m. Eastern time, and we're going to have a good time. Follow us on Instagram at the Lowe Zone. We have a TikTok at the Lowe Zone as well. Go follow us on there where we post NBA content daily. Last night I posted a lot. Yesterday I posted a lot of highlights. DeMar DeRozan, the 20,000 point club. So congratulations to him. I couldn't find any NBA birthdays. We still got a minute left here. Let's see if we can find some NBA birthdays to give shout outs to for today. Let's see. Do we have any? Devin Booker, happy birthday. Devin Booker, born in 1996. Who else do we got here? Who else? Thomas Jornoransky, Sederansky, rather. He played for the Chicago Bulls. And in the WNBA, Tamara Young, happy birthday to you three amazing NBA and WNBA players. I could never do what you guys do on a day-to-day basis. I'm just here talking about you guys on a week-to-week basis. So happy birthday to you guys. And you guys have a great rest of your week. We'll see you on Sunday right back here at 10.